Hello, welcome to Shad Life. I've been waiting for this for a while, all winter basically. I left this up in storage up in Cuyuna and never got a chance to go up there this winter to grab it. So I finally got it and it's time to replace this frame and fork and switch all these parts over. So that's what this video is about. Let's get started. So I've mentioned this thing a bunch of times throughout the winter and it's basically been hanging on this hook over here. So it's time to take this and make it that. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm really excited about this fork because I finally found like the right axle to crown fork, and it's interesting because when I put this frame up to this frame and kind of eyeball everything, it is almost identical as far as like fork length, geometry, and everything, which is good because I really like the geometry of this Haro Steel Reserve. So you might be asking what's going to happen with this frame and fork. Well, I'm going to do what I've done before. This frame and fork will be a giveaway on my channel. So if you're interested, subscribe, pay attention, and this will be given away here shortly. Some of the requirements in order to be eligible are that you have to be a subscriber, and then I do some other stuff, ask some questions. I'll do all that once I have this frame and fork available. So let's go ahead and do this work and see how it goes. One of my initial concerns is I like the yellow and black. I'm not so sure I'm gonna like the blue parts on here, but it's what I have, so I'm gonna make the switch. And I already have a yellow and blue bike and I'll have another one, right? But what I'll probably do, especially if I don't really like it, I'm going to probably gradually update the components and get rid of the blue stuff. So yeah, there you have it. Let's get started. So the first phase of this will be to take all the parts off of this frame and fork and just strip this thing down so I can use all these parts to put on the other frame. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to film that whole process because I'm pretty sure that's pretty boring to watch. But yeah, I'll get this whole frame and fork, all the parts removed from this frame and fork. Okay, so here it is, just the frame. I do have the fork over here. So I'm actually weighing things now because I'm kind of curious if I'm going to save any weight making this switch. Forks, they're really close, and the steerer isn't cut on that identity fork. So I have a feeling once I cut the steerer on that fork, the forks are going to be almost identical in weight, which is fine. And that's kind of falls into the heavy category, like a little over 3 pounds, almost 3.5. Here, let me check really quick. Three and a quarter pounds for this fork, and the identity fork is almost exactly the same, more like 3.5, but it's got like this much more steer on it, so I have a feeling they're pretty much the same. So now let's weigh the frames and see the difference there. This is actually what I suspected. I was always trying to figure out why this bike was a little heavy. I left the bottom bracket in because the bottom bracket is in the standard frame when I weighed it. That was 5.2 pounds with the bottom bracket in it. And this was 6.28 pounds. There's a pound difference in frames, and that makes sense. Like, this thing's made overseas and it uses, sure, it's 4130 chromoly, but it's just, you know, your standard whatever 4130 chromoly, nothing super fancy. The standard frame, well, let me grab it and I'll talk a little bit about it. So the standard frame this is actually made of OX Platinum. It's old enough to where it was made when True Temper OX Platinum was still a thing. You'll notice it doesn't have any extra welded on gussets or anything. It doesn't need it because OX Platinum is what's called an air hardening or air hardened metal. So when the heat gets created during the welding process, the cooling process actually strengthens where the welds are. And that's what was really cool about OX Platinum. There's other metals now that True Temper stopped making bike tubing a few years ago. There's other manufacturers that also do I forget what they call it, but it's basically heat treatment when it cools. But the air hardening stuff. So that's one reason why this is lighter. It's also just higher end tubing. It's made in the US, down in Davenport, Iowa. I mean, I can feel that it's just lighter weight, but it's also going to be a lot stronger. So that's always a benefit when you can go lighter and stronger. Of course, this frame retail when it was sold was around $450 or something like that. That entire Haro bike that I got was about $650. So yeah, you could definitely see that, yes, this is going to be a much higher quality frame. So yeah, time to start putting this bad boy together. Of course, I'm getting grease all over it now because I've got grease all over my hands, but that's fine. I'll clean it up when I'm done. Okay, so I've got the fork on, handlebars, and the bottom bracket's already in because there was a bottom bracket in this frame. So well on its way. It won't take long now. Probably the most work was cutting the steer tube. Let's see if I can find that. Oh yeah. Look how thick that is. I can definitely say that this fork is going to be strong. There's some thick tubing, and that's pretty high up for it to be that thick. So yeah, I'm not going to have to worry about this fork breaking, but that was a lot of work to cut through. So next steps: put wheels on, put cranks on, put seat on. What's kind of funny is working on a bike like this is so much faster and easier than working on mountain bikes because they're very simple. There's no derailleurs, there's none of that stuff. And the brakes on this are mechanical. There's no suspension fork, like anything. And there's just a rear brake on this bike. So assembling and disassembling is pretty quick and easy. Probably, like I said, the most effort was getting the steer cut to the right length. And now that I'm done with that, this is going to be a breeze. All right, well, I got some other stuff I have to do, so I will get back to this video. For you, it'll be a split second. For me, it's going to be a few hours. Okay, well, this is as far as I've gotten. Fork, handlebars installed, brakes installed, wheels, cranks, everything. The seat is missing. That's because the Haro came with what's a traditional BMX size seat tube, and that is 1 inch for the seat, and I think this is like a 28 some, what is it actually, 28/6 outer clamp. Well, this is a mountain bike size seat tube, so this is 27.2, and I believe the clamp on the outside is something like 30 or right around 30. So I have to get a different seat post seat because this is one piece built unit and clamp for this bike, and I don't have one, believe it or not for this size. I don't even think I have a bike I could steal it off of because I don't think, yeah, nope, I don't. So no luck. I was planning on riding this today at the pump track, but looks like I'll have to take my BMX bike to the pump track. But this is what it looks like. It's looking pretty good. Definitely loving my profile hub. What's really cool about this is a bunch of stuff is made in the US. So we got the made in US frame. The rims, believe it or not, are made in the US, Velocity. The rear hub is US made. That's a profile rear hub. Cranks, profile cranks, USA made. Spindle, sprocket, all USA made. Did I mention the stem? Profile stem, US made. Then the front rim, obviously. They don't fully match. That's because this one's much older, and I think this one's more faded than that one. But it's pretty cool because I've got a lot of US made stuff on this bike, which is pretty cool. And of course the seat clamp I'm going to get will be another wolf tooth seat clamp, so that'll be US made. And then I'll get you know, I don't know what post and seat I'll get, but it'll actually be kind of nice. I'll get a little bit longer post, so if I decide to like take this bike to cruise around with it, I'll raise it. I'm not so sure I like the blue and yellow in this combo. And then of course my bars have orange. So color combo wise, this bike's a bit of a mess. But you know, if you know me, I like performance and a bike that rides good. So as long as it rides good, I'll be happy riding it. And you know, it's a hodgepodge of colors. It is what it is, right? So yeah, pretty sweet. So that pretty much is going to end this video. I was hoping to get it completed, but you know, I'll finish up the brake and get the seat and all that taken care of, and then get riding this bike, and then tell you what I think. It's definitely going to be lighter, which is pretty cool. Sweet. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.